Hello, and welcome to Moments in History. I'm Linda Shenton-Matchett, author, speaker, and history geek. While researching my stories, I unearth tons of intriguing historical information that doesn't end up in my books. So I've created this channel so I can share these tidbits with you. I had the exciting opportunity to attend the 1982 World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee. Because of my proximity to the city, I attended several times, including the last day, which held a bittersweet atmosphere. A World's Fair, or World Fair, is a large international exhibition designed to showcase achievements of nations. These exhibitions vary in character and are held in different parts of the world at a specific site for a period of time ranging usually from 3 to 6 months. In 1791, the city of Prague organized the first World's Fair. This fair was followed by other national exhibitions in Europe. In 1851, under the title Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of All Nations, the World Expo was held in the Crystal Palace in Hyde Park, London. The Great Exhibition, as it was often called, was an idea of Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, and is usually considered to be the first international exhibition of manufactured products. Attendees included Charles Darwin, Karl Marx, Michael Faraday, Samuel Colt, Charlotte Bronte, Charles Dickens, Lewis Carroll, George Eliot, Alfred Tennyson, and William Makepeace Thackeray. For most fairs, the majority of the structures are temporary and are dismantled after the fair closes. Landmark towers from several fairs are notable exceptions. Perhaps the most famous of these is the Eiffel Tower built for the 1889 exposition. Interestingly, a number of influential contemporary critics opposed its construction, and there were demands for it to be dismantled after the fair's conclusion. Other major structures that were held over from these fairs include the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, the replica of the Parthenon in Nashville, the Civic Aquarium of Milan, the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, the Space Needle in Seattle, the Unisphere in Queens, the Biosphere in Montreal, the Tower of the Sun in Osaka, and the Sky Needle in Brisbane. The Centennial International Exhibition of 1876, the first official World's Fair to be held in the United States, was held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from May 10 to November 10, 1876, to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia. Officially named the International Exhibition of Arts, Manufactures, and Products of the Soil and Mine, it was held in Fairmount Park along the Schuylkill River on fairgrounds, designed by Herman J. Schwartzman, a very well-known architect of the time. Nearly 10 million visitors attended the exposition, and 37 countries participated. The idea of the Centennial Exposition is credited to John L. Campbell, a professor of mathematics, natural philosophy, and astronomy at Indiana's Wabash College, who made the suggestion to Philadelphia Mayor Morton McMichael in December of 1866. Naysayers argued that the project would not be able to find funding. Other nations might not attend, and domestic exhibits might compare poorly to foreign ones. In 1871, a bill was passed that created the United States Centennial Commission, which included one representative from each territory and state in the United States. The bill additionally provided that the U.S. government would not be liable for any expenses. In 1873, the Centennial Commission named Ohio businessman Alfred T. Goshorn as the Director General of the exposition. The Fairmount Park Commission set aside 450 acres of West Fairmount Park for the exposition, which was dedicated on July 4, 1873. The commission decided to classify the exhibits into 7 departments: agriculture, art, education and science, horticulture, machinery, manufactures, and mining and metallurgy. Newspaper publisher John Forney agreed to head and pay for a Philadelphia commission sent to Europe to invite nations to exhibit at the exposition. Despite fears of a European boycott and high American tariffs making foreign goods not worthwhile, no European country declined the invitation. To accommodate out-of-town visitors, temporary hotels were constructed near the exposition's grounds. A Centennial Lodging House agency made a list of rooms in hotels, boarding houses, and private homes, and then sold tickets for the available rooms in cities promoting the Centennial or on trains heading for Philadelphia. Streetcars increased their service, and the Pennsylvania Railroad ran special trains. A small hospital was built on the exposition's grounds by the Centennial's Medical Bureau, but despite a heat wave during the summer, no mass health crisis occurred. Philadelphia passed an ordinance that authorized Mayor William S. Stokely to appoint 500 men as Centennial Guards for the exposition. Centennial Guards policed exhibits, kept the peace, reunited lost children with their parents, and received, recorded, and when possible returned lost items, the most unusual of which were front hair pieces and false teeth. Guards were required to live on site and were housed at 6 police stations strategically located throughout the exposition. A magistrate's office and courtroom were located at the only 2-story police station located on the grounds and was used to conduct prisoner hearings. The Centennial National Bank was chartered on January 19, 1876, to be the financial agent of the board of the Centennial Exhibition, receiving and accounting for daily receipts, changing foreign money into current funds, etc. The commission ran out of funds for printing and other expenses, so Philadelphia city officials appropriated $50,000 to make up for the shortfall. More than 200 buildings were constructed within the grounds, which were surrounded by a fence nearly 3 miles long. There were 5 main buildings in the exposition: the main exhibition building, Memorial Hall, Machinery Hall, Agricultural Hall, and Horticultural Hall. Additional buildings were constructed for state, federal, foreign, corporate, and public comfort. This strategy of numerous buildings in one exposition set it apart from the previous fairs around the world that had relied exclusively on having one or a few large buildings. The commission sponsored a design competition for the principal buildings, but after the 10 design winners were chosen, it was determined that none of them allowed enough time for construction and limited finances. The commission then turned to third-place winners architect Henry Pettit and engineer Joseph Wilson for design and construction of the main exhibition building. A temporary structure, the main building was the largest building in the world by area, enclosing 21.5 acres and measured 464 feet in width and 1,880 feet in length. It was constructed using prefabricated parts with a wood and iron frame resting on a substructure of 672 stone piers. Wrought iron roof trusses were supported by the columns of the superstructure. The building took 18 months to complete and cost $1,580,000. The Women's Pavilion was the first structure at an international exhibition to highlight the work of women, with exhibits created and operated by women. Female organizers had to build their own structure because they lost their spot in one of the larger pavilions due to an unexpected increase in the participation of foreign countries. The women's aim was to employ only women in the construction of the pavilion and even to power it, and they exceeded with the exception of the design by Mr. Schwartzman. Their overarching goal was to advance women's social, economic, and legal standing, abolish restrictions discriminating against their gender, encourage harmony, and gain influence, leverage, and freedom for all women in and outside the home by increasing women's confidence and ability to choose. Much of the pavilion was devoted to human ecology and home economics. On exhibit were over 80 patented inventions, including a Reliance stove, a hand attachment for sewing machines, a dishwasher, a fountain griddle greaser, a heating iron with removable handle, a frame for stretching and drying lace curtains, and a stocking and glove darner. The Centennial women not only showed domestic production, but also employed a popular means for justifying female autonomy outside the home by demonstrating to visitors the many ways women were making a profitable living. Exhibits demonstrated positive achievements and women's influence in domains such as industrial and fine arts, with wood carvings, furniture making, and ceramics, fancy articles, through clothing and woven goods, and philanthropy, as well as philosophy, science, medicine, education, and literature. 11 nations had their own exhibition buildings, and others contributed small structures. The main British building, also known as St. George's Hall or the English Commission Building, survived at its original site as Fairmount Park offices until demolished in 1961. 26 of the 37 U.S. states constructed buildings along States Drive in the grounds. Only 3 such state houses are still in existence: the Ohio House at its original location in Fairmount Park, the Maryland House, which was moved to Druid Hill Park in Baltimore, and the Missouri House, which was moved to Spring Lake, New Jersey. The U.S. government had a cross-shaped building that held exhibits from various governmental departments. The exposition was originally scheduled to open in April, marking the anniversary of the battles of Lexington and Concord, but construction delays caused the date to be pushed back to May the 10th. Bells rang all over Philadelphia to signal the exposition's opening, and the ceremony was attended by President Ulysses S. Grant and his wife, as well as Emperor Pedro II of Brazil and his wife. The ceremony concluded in Machinery Hall, with Grant and Pedro turning on the Corliss steam engine, which powered most of the other machines at the exposition. The official number of first-day attendees was 186,272 people, with 110,000 of those people entering with free passes. Although not financially successful for investors, the Centennial Exposition impressed foreigners with the industrial and commercial growth of the country. Scholars feel the level of exports increased, the level of imports decreased, and the trade balance grew in favor of the United States. Mass-produced products and new inventions were on display within Machinery Hall. Inventions included the typewriter and electric pen, along with new types of mass-produced sewing machines, stoves, lanterns, guns, wagons, carriages, and agricultural equipment. The exposition also featured many well-known products, including Alexander Graham Bell's first telephone, set up at opposite ends of Machinery Hall, Thomas Edison's automatic telegraph system, screw-cutting machines that dramatically improved the production of screws and bolts from 8,000 to 100,000 per day, and a universal grinding machine by the Brown & Sharp Manufacturing Company. New food products such as popcorn, ketchup, and root beer were also exhibited. The right arm and torch of the Statue of Liberty were showcased at the exposition, and for a fee of 50 cents, visitors could climb the ladder to the balcony, and the money was raised to use for funding the pedestal of the statue. The highest attendance date of the entire exhibition was September 28th. That day, which saw about 250,000 people attend, was Pennsylvania Day, and celebrated the 100th anniversary of the Pennsylvania Constitution of 1776. And exposition events included speeches, receptions, and fireworks. By the time the exposition ended on November 10th, a total of 10,164,489 people had visited the fair. I hope you've enjoyed today's Moments in History. If you want to learn even more history, please stop by my blog, found on my website at www.lindashentonmatchett.com, and please consider subscribing to my channel. Click the bell icon to receive notifications of new episodes that generally release on the second and fourth Friday of every month. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.